Under mounting pressure, the Postmaster General reverses course. I'm Christina Ruffini with the details, including his pledge that the post office can handle whatever comes its way this November.
Plus, this one's for the girls. More on an important anniversary celebrating the right to vote.
And later, it's back to school time. Experts say checking in on your child's emotional well-being is just as important as physical health. We'll have more from health leaders. The 10 o'clock news starts now.
From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 10 o'clock news.
Good evening and thanks for trusting MTN this Tuesday. I'm Keely Van Middendorp.
And I'm Tim McGonigal. Former Vice President Joe Biden has officially been named his party's nominee for President of the United States as day 2 of the Democratic National Convention convenes under the theme Leadership Matters.
Now, night 2 of the Democratic National Convention kicked off with a focus on the party's past and future. In a first, the virtual keynote address featured 17 Democratic rising stars. 2 former Democratic presidents also took center stage, Jimmy Carter and Bill Clinton, who offered sharp rebuke when it came to President Trump.
At a time like this, the Oval Office should be a command center. Instead, it's a storm center. There's only chaos. Just one thing never changes: his determination to deny responsibility and shift the blame. The buck never stops there. Now you have to decide whether to renew his contract or hire someone else.
In a change from previous conventions, delegates from all U.S. states and territories cast their votes virtually to officially back Biden as the Democratic Party's nominee for president. Progressive New York Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez spoke on behalf of the delegates won by Biden's former rival, Senator Bernie Sanders. In another show of cross-party unity, Cindy McCain, widow of the late Republican Senator John McCain, lent her voice to a video highlighting the 3 decades-long unlikely friendship between her husband and Joe Biden.
The embattled Postmaster General has announced a change of course regarding recent measures that have resulted in mail delivery delays. The turnaround comes as more than a dozen states join lawsuits to protect the Postal Service. CBS's Christina Ruffini reports from the White House.
Facing an uproar, the recently appointed U.S. Postmaster General announced he will suspend controversial changes, including the removal of mailboxes and mail sorting machines that have slowed down mail delivery until after the election.
What he and Donald Trump have been doing is to try to sabotage the operations of the post office.
The change, of course, comes as Democratic lawmakers and postal workers across the nation held a day of action Tuesday.
There is no justification for removing machinery that will help us, assist us in processing the ballots and the mail.
With more Americans expected to vote by mail this year because of the coronavirus, the postmaster had previously warned he couldn't guarantee mail-in ballots in all 50 states would be delivered in time to be counted by November.
President Trump has denied trying to slow down the mail, but he once again questioned the integrity of universal mail-in voting, which is where states automatically send a ballot to every registered voter.
You can't have millions and millions of ballots sent all over the place, sent to people that are dead, sent to dogs, cats, sent everywhere.
Louis DeJoy, a Republican donor with no previous postal management, will face questions from lawmakers on Capitol Hill, starting at the end of this week. Christina Ruffini, CBS News, the White House.
In a statement this afternoon, Postmaster General DeJoy said the Postal Service is ready to handle whatever volume of election mail it receives this fall. He also announced the expansion of the task force on election mail to ensure election officials and voters are fully supported by the Postal Service. In Montana, top lawmakers voiced their support, including Senator Jon Tester, who blew the whistle last week on the removal of U.S. mail drop boxes in several cities. He introduced a bill today to halt any further box removals and require a report on box removal decisions. More reactions from Senator Steve Daines and Governor Steve Bullock are on our websites.
Well, Cascade became the latest Montana county to move to all-mail ballots for the 2020 general election in November. The decision came after a unanimous vote from the county commission. Elections Administrator Rena Fontana Moore presented the proposal at a special meeting this morning after looking at several options. Moore spent time addressing the various concerns the public had with mail ballots, including voter fraud, count accuracy, and post office infrastructure. The commissioners voiced their faith in the elections office to conduct a fair and accurate vote.
I mean, we all are in a change situation here due to COVID, and it's not the elections office's fault. When I've seen them operate, I know that they have the integrity to make this work.
For those of you who are concerned about voter fraud, are we immune? No. Am I very comfortable with the team that's in place here that it will not happen in Cascade County? The answer is yes.
And the county is keeping open the option to vote in person and will accept ballots at polling places all the way through November 3rd. Due to social distancing and capacity guidelines, commissioners warn you may experience long wait times.
Secretary of State candidate Bryce Bennett is opening fire on his Republican opponent, accusing her and her current boss, Corey Stapleton, of offering no plans and no vision as Montana heads for the general election in the midst of a pandemic. But Christi JACOBSEN says the Democrat is a radical socialist who shouldn't be trusted anywhere near the Secretary of State's office. MTN's Dennis Bragg reports.
In a crowded election year, it's merely a race among many, but the showdown between current Deputy Secretary of State Christi JACOBSEN and challenger Bryce Bennett is heating up, especially with the pandemic complications to voting.
Unfortunately, for the people of Montana, the Secretary of State's office under the Stapleton-JACOBSEN administration has failed to rise up to the challenge over and over again.
Bennett went on the attack outside the Capitol, saying Stapleton and by extension JACOBSEN have been silent on pandemic election procedures.
They have offered no guidance to county election officials, offered limited resources, and held on to millions of dollars for unspecified projects. If it wasn't for the hard work of our county elections officials, the primary election could have been the sort of mess that we've seen in states like Wisconsin and Georgia.
But JACOBSEN fired back in a statement to MTN News, hitting Bennett's legislative position on the sanctuary cities issue during the last session, accusing him of voting to bankrupt the interests of the business community, saying he isn't capable of keeping our elections fair and clean. Bennett argues the counties need help to do just that, saying the current administration hasn't released $1.6 million from the Help America Vote Act aimed at election security, not to mention coronavirus funds.
They shouldn't have to wait on leadership that never comes, and we need to make sure that in the face of a huge pandemic and the problems that come with it, in an election where we're going to have record turnout, our counties have the resources they need, and today they're just not getting it from this administration.
With Election Day just weeks away and the process still a point of debate at the local level, this race could see even more attention. Dennis Bragg, MTN News.
And at our state capitol, the League of Women Voters of the Helena area held a celebration today to mark the 100th anniversary of the United States guaranteeing women's right to vote. The 19th Amendment to the Constitution confirmed women nationwide couldn't be denied the right to vote, though Montana was one of several states that had already granted full suffrage before it was ratified. Those attending today's ceremony placed yellow roses by the statue of Montana's Jeanette Rankin, the first woman elected to Congress who introduced a federal suffrage amendment. They then held a march around the Capitol grounds. Leaders say the success of the suffrage movement can still be an example. Well, some of us could see some rain through the morning. Let's send things over to our Storm Tracker weather team. Grant Garland joins us now. And Grant, much of Montana could use that moisture.
I agree, all of us could, but it looks like only a few are going to be able to see that rain tomorrow, mainly those south of Great Falls. Going ahead and taking a look here, it's going to start right around after 4 a.m. Looking at 6:30, looking at showers making their way into Helena. Throughout the morning, we'll continue to see showers, and this brings us to, well, what we're expecting, possibly an isolated chance for a severe thunderstorm, bringing with it damaging wind gusts as well as lightning as the main threats. And this is just all due to, well, the ingredients needed in the atmosphere. Right now, though, temperature 74 degrees, 77 in Helena, 71 in Lewistown, 80 in Glasgow, and 75 in Jordan. Overall, looking at calm conditions for the most part, 11-mile-per-hour winds out towards Glendive. Over the last 3 hours, we have been seeing clouds building back into the area, and that will be the continuing trend. And heads up, we are looking at the red flag warning being lifted for us around 6 a.m. in the morning. Tonight's temperatures getting down to around 61 degrees in Great Falls and 62 in Helena. Later in the show, we're going to talk about when we could see some relief from the heat, but for now, back to you.
In our Health Watch tonight, Cascade County officials are reminding residents to bat-proof their residences and keep several safety tips in mind. This comes after a rabid bat was found in the county last Friday, August 14th. A post by CCHD officials on social media today said rabies is a fatal disease but is preventable. They suggest vaccinating your pets against rabies and avoid feeding or handling bats or any wild animals. If you're bitten by a bat, call their office or a healthcare provider immediately. That information and more safety tips from city county health officials on our websites. And staying with news from the health department, officials released more information after a post this morning to Facebook encouraging residents and businesses to continue adhering to the governor's mask mandate. The department posted again tonight to clarify their enforcement procedures after concerns arose over punishment of local businesses for disobeying that mandate. CCHD told MTN they have not threatened or demanded that a business close because of mask non-compliance. The Facebook post explained the ways officials enforce the mask order in Cascade County, including steps officials go through in order for any penalties or violations to be enforced by local law enforcement. It also said CCHD's goal is to educate, not punish, and that it's crucial businesses and residents work together to slow the spread of COVID-19 by obeying the governor's directive. We have the outline of CCHD's basic enforcement process right now on our website, and we'll have more with CCHD officials tomorrow at 5:30.
Well, 2 more coronavirus-related deaths have pushed the state death toll to 84. A Cascade County man over the age of 65 has passed away. The other death occurred in Roosevelt County. The state of Montana reporting 57 new cases since yesterday. There are more than 1,500 active cases, and 97 Montanans remain hospitalized. Well, with school just around the corner, parents should keep a close eye on their children to see if they're physically and emotionally ready to return in person. In western Montana, one pediatrician says in-person learning is important for children's emotional and social health. However, he says if your child has any underlying health conditions and you are concerned about them doing in-person learning, a mask is crucial. He told MTN parents need to monitor their child's emotional health through this pandemic and what symptoms to look for in your child if you're concerned about their anxiety or depression.
Maybe they're having trouble falling asleep at night. Maybe they're losing interest in the activities that they used to enjoy doing. Maybe they're not eating as well. Maybe they're more withdrawn into themselves and not as interactive as they were before.
Dr. Cole says another thing to watch for is a change in behavior. If your child who was once pretty safe and is now all of a sudden engaging in risky behavior, that could be a sign that your child needs extra help or isn't ready to return to in-person learning. He says the best thing parents can do is maintain a regular and normal schedule, creating a routine, and model good, positive, calm behavior. Cole suggests decrease stress recreating outside with your child. 2 young men are crediting a Great Falls nonprofit with helping turn their lives around.
We'll share their inspirational stories next.
From Montana's news leader, you're watching the MTN 10 o'clock news.
And welcome back to the 10 o'clock news. The Alliance for Youth is in the midst of a capital campaign to raise money for its new Youth Resource Center.
The center will provide resources for hundreds of at-risk youth in north central Montana. Tonight, we meet 2 of the young men who are already benefiting from what the center has to offer.
John Brady and Dylan Zybro have become familiar faces at the Alliance for Youth Resource Center. Sure, they help serve lunches and fold laundry, but their role goes far beyond that.
First and foremost, I'm doing peer advocacy. I'm making sure that the kids are getting their needs met, whether that be socializing with them. I'm making sure they have the hygiene products they need.
Making sure I listen to what their problems or anything, or if they're sad or, upset or anything. So I just gotta listen, be a shoulder to cry on, basically.
Dylan struggled with a loss of friends, a struggle that ultimately led him to being kicked out of his house and down an even darker road.
Suicide seemed like it was the only way out. I had a person who knew. They contacted the police, and the police came and got me. They took me to the hospital, and I was in there for around 4 days.
John became homeless after the death of his grandmother.
Couldn't keep up with rent and stuff because she paid majority of it. So basically, when she passed away, it was more to my little brother, my mom, and my little brother.
The pair learned about the center through Opportunities Incorporated, a local nonprofit that was helping John earn his high school equivalency or HiSET certificate and helped turn Dylan's volunteer opportunity into a job.
I would be here even if I wasn't getting paid.
Both young men are complimentary about their time at the center, especially their relationship with Director of Operations Lisa Beavers.
In the beginning, I would forget a lot. And so she basically gave me notes to write down. So I could write it down and forget about it.
John has become an integral part of the community we're trying to create here at the YRC. And I don't think we could do this without him.
Lisa has always been here for me, and she's always trying to find me resources as well, whether that be counseling.
He comes and spends probably 35 hours here a week. He only gets paid for 15.
John and Dylan, just seeing them where they were at when they came, and now seeing them flourish and really wanting to make influence and an impact in the community, and just seeing their confidence grow.
Recently, Dylan and John found out that they would be getting their own apartment, thanks in part to an assist from NeighborWorks.
My reaction was like surprise, because I thought we weren't going to get it.
Big surprise and a good feeling that I know that I'm going to have my own place that I can go to from now on.
Ready to embark on an adventure as roommates while still finding time to help others.
Well, temperatures tomorrow, 91 degrees in both the capital and Electric City. Don't go away. Your 7-day forecast is coming up next.
Storm Tracker weather starts now with Grant Garland.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope that you have had a fantastic Tuesday evening. We are one day closer to Friday. Wednesdays are usually pretty good, right? I think so. Well, today's highs observed 91 degrees in Helena, 90 in Great Falls, 96 in Havre, 103 out towards Glasgow, and 98 in Jordan. Now, even though these temperatures are still hot, they're not like yesterday where we broke several records, especially here in Great Falls whenever we were looking at 99-degree temperatures. The average for this time of year is right around 82, so we were well off, and we still are right from that mark, so still very, very warm. The record set back in 1964 when it was 101 degrees when Mary Wells' My Guy was popular, that song there. Take a look at this. Looks beautiful outside, looks very calm except for the blinking lights. That's almost going to give me a seizure, so we're going to go ahead and change that. 74 degrees right now in Great Falls, 77 in Helena, a little bit cooler out towards Lewistown at 71 degrees and 80 still in Glasgow. As far as our winds, even though we aren't seeing really any problems right now, earlier we were looking at 26-mile-per-hour wind gusts up in Cutbank, 28 up towards Havre, and 23 in Glasgow. Over the last 3 hours, we have been looking at a few clouds that are trying to make their way into the area, and that's going to be the continuing trend as we head into the overnight hours. Rain chances will also start to vamp up for those mainly in the southwestern part of the state, including Helena. As far as though what we can expect in terms of when our driest time will be, is going to be in the afternoon, right around 3 o'clock. We're seeing 22% humidity, very dry, but not as dry as what we were seeing earlier this week when we were seeing 9%. So yeah, very different. As far as our winds are concerned tomorrow, we will see times when we're looking at 10 to 20 mile per hour winds, as well as even some 30 mile per hour wind gusts here in Great Falls as we head throughout our Wednesday. But let's go ahead and talk about the rain and also the chance for some thunderstorms. We do have a chance for an isolated severe thunderstorm staying south of Great Falls, and you'll be able to see why in just a second. Main threats will be damaging wind gusts as well as frequent lightning. So by 4 a.m., we start to see these showers start to make their way through Missoula. By around 7 a.m., we're going to be looking at rain falling in the capital city. You might want to give yourself a few extra minutes for that morning commute. Then we're going to be looking at kind of several waves of showers impacting those south of Great Falls throughout the day tomorrow. This is around lunchtime, and some of these storms will be able to clip Lewistown by around 6 p.m. Going throughout the night, we will see clouds start to build in from Butte as well as Bozeman. As that happens, right around lunchtime, we'll see a few showers then start to make their way out towards the northeast. By 3:30 and then by around 5, notice that these kind of form a line that could be looking at a squall line possibly as they make their way out towards Glasgow, and that is around 8 p.m. tomorrow. On Thursday. Now, how much rain could we get? Well, tomorrow at least, we're looking at, for our friends in Helena, over 1/10 of an inch of rain, which we desperately need. So hopefully we'll be able to see some of that too in the Electric City, even though chances are still a little bit lower than those there in Helena. You can always stay weather aware by following me at meteorologist Chris Grant Garland on Facebook and downloading that free KRTV app. Tonight, 61 degrees in Great Falls, 60 in Lewistown, 63 in Hayes, as well as out towards Glasgow. Tomorrow's high is 91 degrees, only an isolated chance for a shower or two. Thursday is when we'll be looking at a better chance for showers and thunderstorms. And then we're going to hit another dry spell, but thankfully temperatures will start to fall down to what we typically would see for this time of year around Tuesday at 83 degrees.
Thanks, Grant. A new face has taken over one of Montana's most storied high school football programs.
A preview of the 2020 CMR Rustlers after the break.
From Montana's news leader, you're watching the MTN 10 o'clock news.
More high school football teams are starting practice this week.
Tonight, MTN's Isaiah Dunk takes us to CMR to get a preview of the Rustlers.
The CM Russell football team officially hit the field for practice this week, entering a new era under new head coach Dennis Morris. Now, Class AA elected to cancel non-conference competition this fall due to COVID-19. And of course, the Rustlers would have liked a full schedule, but they're finding plenty of positives in this situation too. The Rustlers won't return a lot of starting experience from last year, but to make sure that's not an issue, they've been working out together in small, COVID-safe position groups all summer to strengthen team bonds and to learn the new playbook.
The fun part of it is a leader comes out to, in each group, and it's fun to see those leaders, and then you start to wish that you could get those leaders together, but we haven't been able to, until yesterday to get them out here. So, I've watched a lot of different guys step up and lead in 3 different groups, and there's about 6 kids that come together, and I feel like we have a really good core of leaders. Like I said, it's just fun to be here.
Kids have been working their butt off all summer long. We're a little bit inexperienced, but I think we make up for that in the weight room and on the field right now. And I think we're all ready for this season, and we're all excited.
That leadership, plus the delayed start to the schedule, could be a big boost for Coach Morris in his first year at the helm of his alma mater.
It's almost a blessing in disguise for me as a brand new head coach and a new system come in. And, we got a lot of work done over the summer, and the kids learned, like I said, about half or maybe 3/4 of the playbook. So they are a little bit ahead. But to get our everyday routine and meeting times and practice times and field times, to have a little extra time to get that prepared as a brand new head coach is a blessing in disguise.
Now, it's still early and there's a lot to work out for this team, but if COVID-19 has taught us anything, it's that nothing is off the table. In Great Falls, Isaiah Dunk, MTN Sports.
And don't go away, we'll be right back.
Well, tonight, temperatures falling down to 61 in Great Falls, 60 in Lewistown, and 63 in Hayes. As you walk out the door tomorrow, 62 degrees with mostly cloudy skies. Chances for showers and thunderstorms do vamp up for mainly those south, though, of the Great Falls around Helena. 91 degrees tomorrow for both the Capital, Electric City, and Cut Bank. And as we head throughout the next 7 days, we are going to be looking at temperatures finally getting back down to where they should be. The only thing is we're going to be drying back out on Friday.
Oh, man, 83 is looking real nice.
I'm telling you, right? That's about what we typically see for this time of year.
That's all the time we have tonight at 10.
Good night.